signed a contract with my dad. Okay, 1 year from now, then I'll do whatever.
Are you
tell
kidding
me.
me? No, don't lie.
I'm not even kidding. I signed a contract with him and I was like, 1 year.
By the time you're 30, 35, you're a little tired, your skin is a little lackluster, you're having indigestion, you're probably having acidity sometimes, your protein value is low. Some people are not taking, like most of the Indian population is low in protein.
COVID was such an unknown factor. Anything could have brought COVID in. So we said nothing doing, just घर का खाना. जो भी once a week me and my wife would go get all the ration and come. तो घर का खाना खाया. मैंने पूरी भी खाई है, मैंने भटूरे भी खाए हैं, मैंने बिरयानी भी खाई है, मैंने पिज्जा भी खाया है, मैंने केक भी खाया.
Because in those days, foreign books were not available in India. So when you pass out, you know something, but then suddenly your patient has just given you some books. And as I went through them, I found tremendous information in that, which I tried again on my patients. And it worked like magic.
Karma is the only word that is looked on more negatively than positive.
Yeah, karma is a bitch, will bite you in the
Whatever, ये मेरे कर्म खराब है, मेरे कर्मा की वजह से मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, वो कर रहा हूँ. लोगों ने कर्मा का मतलब समझा है. Thought, word and action. This is karma. Think about it.
Action.
What you think, what you say, and what you feel.
Those days would come because they needed to understand how to eat and what to do. The industrialists, politicians, those families used to come, and they benefited. And when they benefited, suddenly I found one day on midday there was a column which says, "What's hot, what's not." And my name was right on top, Anjali
Yeah, I
Mukerjee.
heard that.
And I was shocked.
That I want to tell you a very interesting story about a friend
please,
of
please.
mine. His dad got cancer.
Oh.
So the doctor said nothing is not going to happen. He did so much of research. He said, I'm very sure by his right eating, I can at least slow it down, if not cure it. He just fixed his dad's diet. He reversed it.
So I'll tell you how to cheat. Okay. So you can.
I'll tell you how to cheat.
Both of us are like, yes, please tell us.
So there's a way. Okay. So whatever you feel, I mean, you have information of what's right and what's wrong for you. You make a meal out of what you think is good for you, right?
Okay.
And whatever you want to cheat on tasting amount.
Welcome to Unstoppable, powered by RiteBite Max Protein. मैं हूँ Rohit Roy. Today we have two guests who know how to stay focused, disciplined, and be hugely successful. First up is someone who has redefined what it means to be healthy in the modern world. She's a celebrated nutritionist and wellness expert who's helped countless people transform their lives through food and holistic health. When nutrition wasn't very well discussed in our country, she created an empire out of her love and understanding of good health. And joining her, we have a man whose charm and versatility has made him a huge name on Indian television. Known for his standout performances in shows like Ishqbaaaz and Kyun, Utthe Dil Chhod Aaye, he's here to share how he balances the demands of stardom with a focus on health and personal growth. Warm welcome, Anjali. Kunal, बहुत स्वागत है आपका show पे.
Thank you.
Firstly, thank you for coming here because both of you are going to impart a lot of knowledge to our audiences. Anjali, I'm going to start with you. So, Kunal, तुम शायद तभी पैदा भी नहीं होते जब अंजलि ने अपने एम्पायर की शुरुआत की हिंदुस्तान में. You were, at a time when, like I said, nutrition wasn't very well discussed. It was not a profession or a business. You started your thing.
That's right.
And it's been ages and you continue to reign. Was there a particular moment or incident in your private life, personal life that decided, okay, I'm going to go towards nutrition and I'm going to do this? Anything that happened which you can tell us?
So nutrition was far from fashionable, like you said.
Absolutely,
in those days. This is way back in 1980s, early 1980s. And after
Kunal
I
is doing
graduated,
the math in his mind.
Yeah, 1980s. Yeah,
But
that's
umar
right.
kya thi tab?
I was not even born. In the early 1980s, I was not born.
So you make me sound ancient.
No.
They started calling me a veteran actor. I said, don't call me Rohit sir, but don't call me a veteran actor. Sorry.
Right. So I graduated in about 1983,
Okay.
that's the time. And then I decided that I have to do something because in those days, parents started looking for a suitable boy after, you graduate
correct.
in those days, 1980s. So I said, it's better to study than get married. So let me continue. And I stumbled upon nutrition.
Okay.
Because those days something new to do and, after you graduate, so just finished from Jai Hind and all my friends were figuring what to do. So I said, let me study nutrition. So that's how I hit upon it. but it didn't really, like, I didn't feel like a nutritionist, or it didn't really, grow on me until I started working.
Okay.
And then when I interacted with patients in my clinic, that's the time I realized that they came in with, say, ABC problems, a little bit of weight, a little bit of headache, or let's say indigestion or hair fall, or small problems. And when you give them a sensible eating pattern, cater to their, body type, most of their problems got sorted out. And that's the time I realized that food in its natural form has such tremendous healing properties. Because you have to use it correctly with an understanding of body chemistry. So when you just match it to their body chemistry, most of the problems disappear. If they have high uric acid, that comes down. If they have, any kind of indigestion, that gets sorted. So that's the time I realized that I'm going to now focus more on. So that I became a voracious reader. I started getting more information on how to correct people's problems by using food as medicine.
And whole foods, natural foods.
Correct. So that's the time it started growing on me as a subject.
Right. So you studied nutrition before this?
Of course. Yeah. So I'm certified in nutrition.
Right.
I finished my post-graduation in nutrition.
Okay.
But ever since this dawned upon me that you can correct so many problems, not just body weight. People think, go on a diet, so you lose weight.
Correct.
But that's not where it begins or ends. It corrects almost everything in your system. It detoxifies, it gives you a good skin. It is anti-aging in nature.
Longevity,
it stops
depends
your
on what you
fall.
eat.
Because you are what you eat. Everything that you choose to put into your mouth has an influence on your body. And how you choose to use that information and correct all your medical conditions is phenomenal.
Wow.
So
I can tell you one thing. Like he said, he wasn't born, but the only name I had heard of in India when it came to weight management or a good diet was Anjali Mukerjee. I have to ask you a question which has got nothing to do with the show.
Yeah.
Are you a Bengali or are you married to one?
I'm married to a Bengali.
Oh, you're married. Because I've never met you.
Right.
We used to be very, very proud. Anjali Mukerjee, Bengali. Kunal ji.
हाँ जी सर.
तो मैं हमेशा अपने आप को एक्सीडेंटल एक्टर मानता हूँ क्योंकि मैं एक्टिंग कभी करना नहीं चाहता था. तुम तो दिखते ही हीरो जैसे हो, तो मैं तुमसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि तुमने कब डिसाइड किया कि यार मुझे एक्टर बनना है या पहले से एक्टर ही बनना था?
मैंने हमेशा स्कूल कॉलेज में स्कूल प्लेज, थिएटर प्लेज, कॉलेज में होता था स्ट्रीट प्लेज, ये सब मैं हमेशा करता रहता था. एंड आई कम फ्रॉम अ वेरी कंजर्वेटिव फैमिली बैकग्राउंड वेयर actors, acting, everything was looked as like, this is something, it's not our family territory. इसमें घुसना ही नहीं है. तो मैं स्कूल में ये सब में मेरी शौक पूरा करने के लिए they used to be like, अच्छा ठीक है कर ले.
बट वो कीड़ा था,
बट कभी सोचा नहीं उसके बारे में क्योंकि पता था कि फैमिली मनाही करने वाली है और ये लड़ाई मैं इतने सारे लोगों के साथ लड़ ही नहीं सकता हूँ फैमिली में. फिर एक दिन आया कि मेरा एक नेबर है जो मेरा बचपन का दोस्त था, उसको मैंने देखा यार ये एड फिल्म में टीवी पे है. And I was like, I told my dad, I was like, he's also on it. Let me at least try.
Correct.
I don't want to be 50 and look back and think, what if I try? So कर कुरा के कन्विंस करके हाथ पैर जोड़ के मैंने पापा से 1 साल कि give me 1 year, let me see what I'll do in 1 year. I don't want to live with regret. And I don't want to ever have that thing in my heart कि my father didn't allow.
True.
So that emotional step that I took, I signed a contract with my dad. Okay, 1 year from now, then I'll do whatever.
Are you kidding me? No, don't lie.
I'm not even kidding. I signed a contract with him and I was like, 1 year. First 6-8 months, nothing. And my dad is always like, see, how many have come, how many have gone.
तू अभी तक कोशिश
ही कर रहा है. एक कर भी लिया, कुछ आ भी गया तो फिर आगे चल के क्या पता क्या होने वाला है ये. 2 months before that 1 year was getting over, I got a small role in a show.
Okay.
TV show called Man Ki Awaaz Pratigya.
Man Ki Awaaz
Pratigya Star Plus.
Okay, yeah.
And that was a show which my mom used to watch religiously. And I got a small role as a servant. तो मैं पीछे खड़े होके झाड़ू दीवार साफ कर रहा होता था. हाँ. तो मैंने वो सब किया, वहां से शुरू किया. वहां से मेकर्स को लगा अरे यार ये बंदा कर तो रहा है यार, वो भी इतनी शिद्दत से कर रहा है, तो कुछ ट्रैक डाल देते. तो तो उस टाइम पे एक सना करके एक एक्ट्रेस है, सना शेख.
Yeah.
So she was getting married to the Thakur. तो to balance that out, कोयले का ट्रैक ऐड किया जहाँ पे मैं गूंगा हूँ और उसको भगा के लेके जाऊंगा.
तो आप नौकर भी थे और गूंगे भी थे.
हाँ.
तो मतलब ना इसको डायलॉग देंगे ना इसको आगे आने देंगे.
पहले शो में तो मैंने माइक देखा ही नहीं है.
अच्छा. अरे वाह, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग यार. आई नो आइडिया. इसके बारे में तुमने कभी बात नहीं की है क्या?
बात की है, बट क्या होता है ना, one on ones.
How was your track was written into the show?
It was written. They
it was a
had
big
an
show,
idea
right?
of it.
Pratik,
It was a massive show. And for me to be on a show which my mother watches so religiously was like मैंने कर लिया बस. अब चलो. Let's go to the mountains.
Superb.
वहाँ से शुरुआत हुई और आगे.
Hold that thought because I'm going to come back to you. I want to also know something else. So like he said, he had some initial resistance from the family. And those days it was quite common. Maybe not so much with the boys, but with girls it was very, very common. When you started off, considering that ये तो पूरा field ही नया था, did you feel that, okay, now this is not going correctly, or did you feel any initial resistance or challenges to start your business?
No, so it was never a business initially. Initially, I was consulting, patients, and like I said, the subject kept growing on me. So I remember just doing my work and correcting people. So what happens is, in those days, the aam janta doesn't come to you because nobody is aware of कि nutrition भी कुछ होता है, and कि you can do some correction.
वही पूछ रहा था मैं कि लोग कैसे.
So those days, the old stars of those days would come because they needed to understand how to eat and what to do. The industrialists, politicians, those families used to come, and they benefited. And when they benefited, suddenly I found one day on midday there was a column which says what's hot, what's not, and my name was right on top, Anjali Mukerjee.
I heard that call.
And I was shocked. And I said, oh really? I'm
what?
Believe कि अच्छा ऐसा है. I mean, you're doing your work, and it's growing on you, and you're just passionate about what you're doing, and suddenly you're there. And then suddenly, Savvy, Society, all these magazines, they come to you, and then you're on the cover, and you say, okay,
so I'm doing something right.
So yeah, so and then you have patients also who, like I remember this lady. Elizabeth Kerkar, Ajit Kerkar's, the hospitality legend.
Yes.
She gave me some books to read because in those days, foreign books were not available in India. Yeah. So when you pass out, you know something, but then suddenly a patient has just given you some books, and as I went through them, I found tremendous information in that, which I tried again on my patients, and it worked like magic.
And then word of mouth must have spread.
Then word of mouth, like suddenly they lost weight better, they looked better, their hair was better, everything,
Right.
And so that's the time I felt it kept growing. So these are not challenges. Like
these are actually fun, very supportive things that happen in your life.
Thing. So it was very organically that one grew, and the more I got entrenched into the field, the more hungrier I got for knowledge, and I kept reading. I became a voracious reader. Knowledge became like a drug for me, literally. I would just search it everywhere.
And those days were not the days of internet, so you had to read a lot to get information.
Not only read a lot, even supplements, they were not available in this country. So I traveled a lot. I got it from US. I used to, bring all that here, bring all the knowledge, the books.
Fantastic.
I used to just, do all of that. So those were pleasant times doing all of that. But I do remember this is how. So if you challenges that information is not available. There was no Google.
Nothing.
We didn't even have phones.
Yeah, correct, of course.
Days. Yeah.
How did you see?
Like my
कितनी मेहनत की हम लोगों ने.
I know. I still remember.
So now you just Google it.
Now
like
Google
if you want an information, you say, "Acha, what does this medicine contain?"
Now I Google it half the time. All of us have become half doctors and nutritionists. ये बोला है, पहले देखता हूँ. अरे भाई तुमको practitioner ने बोला है, तुम believe करो. नहीं, I have to double check.
Correct. So that time.
Sorry, you were saying something?
I was saying कि I have this very vivid memory कि जब छोटा होता था ना और कुछ खाना होता था तो my mom used to buy a lot of Anjali Mukerjee products.
Right, yeah.
So she used to be like, if you want to eat healthy. This week. So the thing was the honesty with which ma'am had her products.
Correct.
out there. It's not like today. There's a lot of
those, yeah. And
you
today's
know
more
here and there
about
everything
business.
अलग-अलग नाम से emulsifiers डाल रहे हैं E5 E25 करके they just गुमराह कर रहे हैं. तो उस टाइम पे जो होता था ना the branding was your reputation. तो हम खाते थे क्या अंजलि मुखर्जी का खाना.
See, you touch generations, yaar.
I'm so honored. Thank you.
That's very, very sweet.
Yeah.
So coming back to you, the question I wanted to ask you, which I told you, hold that thought. तो तुमको तुम्हारा ट्रैक लिखा गया और वो शो भी चला और तुम्हारा कैरेक्टर पॉपुलर हुआ. But according to you, what is that one show or character that you did which catapulted you to the next phase?
So that is such a well-known fact about me is Omkara for Ishqbaaaz. Story of three brothers, Nakul Mehta, me and Linesh Mattu.
Okay.
So it was based on Shiva's three names.
Okay.
Shivaya, Rudra, Omkar.
Shivaya, Rudra, Omkara. So you were the youngest
Yeah.
brother.
No, I was the middle one.
Middle one.
So it was brain, emotions and body.
Okay.
So they
अच्छा ओमकारा का मतलब
No, it was not that. It
मतलब
was
नहीं.
just the name of
Okay,
Shiva's.
okay.
But so Nakul was playing the businessman who was the head of like brains.
हाँ.
I was the poet, artist, sculptor, painter.
Right.
जो दिल से सोचता है हर चीज. And Rudra was the guy who's like buffed up. So you know the
Spitfire.
the Spitfire, like you know the guy
Brawn.
who's there. He was the brawn. So that combination was so different from what we were consuming on TV back then.
Okay.
The तीन भाइयों की कहानी है.
हाँ होता ही नहीं है.
होता ही नहीं है.
Correct.
So that is what took my career from here to there. But if you ask me personally,
Yeah, which is your
my favorite characters क्यों थे दिल छोड़ आए कुंवर वीर प्रताप सिंह. पार्टीशन की कहानी थी.
अच्छा.
तो जब पार्टीशन हो गया था तो जब कहानी कराची या कहीं से दिल्ली शिफ्ट हुई तो वहां पे मेरी एंट्री होती है एज द सेकंड हीरो एज द हीरो मतलब पैरेलल हीरो टू द हीरो बैक देन. दैट कैरेक्टर वाज something that I used to wake up every day
wanting to go to the
to
set.
live.
Wow.
Because he was a madman. Absolute madman के कुछ भी कर सकता है just attention पाने के लिए.
Excellent, excellent. अभी तो बहुत कुछ करना है. बहुत कुछ करना है. So Anjali, now since you said you didn't face really any challenges and now you're set. What's your company called now?
Anjali Mukerjee, HealthTotal.
Okay.
That's what.
HealthTotal. Okay.
Yeah.
So now the name, as the name suggests, HealthTotal. You approach nutrition in a complete manner, holistic. You also are an advocate for yoga and this and that and the other, and overall wellness.
Yeah.
What would you tell the young generation? How, like you said, what you are, what you eat is what you are. How do we approach that kind of a living on a day-to-day basis? Considering that there's so much of information and so many fads and so many diets, what is a normal day like?
Yeah. So it's pretty confusing, you know, because some people say eat eggs, others will say don't eat eggs. Some say eat peanuts, they'll say don't eat peanuts. Drink milk, don't drink milk.
Don't drink milk, yeah.
There's
Damn
lot of
confusing.
this confusion, right? So earlier, like I said, I was practicing alone. That was a single practice, and then we set up a company in the late 1990s. Around 1997, we set up this company, and with that, we train doctors, we train nutritionists. So we have Ayurvedic doctors, homeopathic doctors, and clinical nutritionists who we train in 60 different locations.
Wow.
So we had 60 clinics all over the country in 4 different cities.
You've been doing this since 97?
Since 97.
Wow.
So my husband, who's ex-Navy, ex-National Defense Academy, he left the Navy at that time. And he joined hands with me, and we both founded HealthTotal in 1997.
Okay.
And then we started from 2, 4, 6, 8 clinics, and then we got 60 clinics just before COVID.
Wow.
And then we designed. So with all this confusion about food, it was important to give the right information to people. So somewhere around 1996. Mr. Pradeep Gua, the president of Times of India, he approached me and said, please write a column for Bombay Times because there's just, too much happening over here. So then I took up writing. So I started writing in 1996. For 26 years, I wrote the column where we, kind of said what is what and what is right, what is wrong, how to approach things. So all of that.
I remember reading that.
Incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. Your journey has been fantastic. Today we're going to give you the Lifetime Achievement Award between me and Kunal.
The OG.
Yeah, the OG. No, but that still doesn't answer my question. how does one decide
Huh.
so everybody doesn't have access
Yeah,
to a
yeah,
nutritionist.
yeah.
People sitting there in
Yeah.
other parts of India, rural India. How do you decide what is good for you? Is it just elimination by a way of elimination?
No. So, see, all of us are very unique. Okay, we have an individual blood chemistry.
Right.
Like your hemoglobin will be different from his, right? Your uric acid will be different from his. So, we have an individual blood chemistry. We have individual genetics.
Right.
We have an individual lifestyle. We live, so our gut microbes are different, right? The good
Everybody.
bacteria. Yeah, it's your own signature, right? So there's a lot of detailing to all of this. So how do you know if you follow the basics of life, more or less, you'll get there, right? But the point is are people following the very basics of life? For instance, eat on time, sleep on time. It's a very simple thing. Even your mother would have told you that.
To do that, yeah.
Right. So are people eating on time? Are they sleeping on time? All right. Because young generation is sleeping at like 2 a.m. in the morning. That changes the circadian rhythm completely. Now, when that happens, the gut bacteria changes. So you have something called the good and the bad bacteria. The good are the...
Just by sleeping late, that changes?
Yeah. That when your circadian rhythm changes, you sleep late, you wake up late, everything late. Obviously, your food is also different. You're eating a little processed food. You're eating a little sugar-based food, right? You're eating maybe living a life of excesses, to just put it in short, Or maybe taking more alcohol, maybe smoking more, maybe not sleeping adequately, maybe too stressed, maybe too overworked, maybe overthinking. So there's a lot of this that the current
that's
generation...
part of our business. We have no sleeping hours. We don't know where we eat.
Right. So within that bracket also, you can bring normalcy and correct it. So what happens is your blood chemistry changes. So let us say some people will have low magnesium, others will have low iron, others will have low B vitamins. Your gut bacteria is different. So you start experiencing tiredness, exhaustion through the day. You're probably driven by stress. Cortisol drives you. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It drives you. It makes you energized. Adrenaline in the morning. It drives you. But then that is unhealthy energy because it is a little hyper kind of energy which drains you out over a period of time, and then you say, why am I tired? By the time you're 30, 35, you're a little tired, your skin is a little lackluster, you're having indigestion, you're probably having acidity sometimes, your protein value is low. Some people are not taking, like most of the Indian population is low in protein. They don't take adequate protein, right? So you need to up your protein intake if you need to be healthy. And so some people are eating on the go, eating sweets, eating fried. So that's the normal life, right? But if you just rectify the basics.
So basically, you just have to correct the basics of
the
it all.
basics first. Hydration, for instance.
Hydration,
Are you drinking 2 to 3 liters of water? Are you taking adequate protein in the day? Are you taking enough fiber in the day? Are you eating enough fruits and vegetables? Ab time nahi milta, so people are just, grabbing a wrap or a sandwich or something like that, right?
Is coffee okay? Black coffee?
Coffee, fortunately, is okay. Yeah.
Because there's so many myths we were just discussing. There's so many myths about coffee. And I have 3 to 4 cups. I limit it to 2, but sometimes, like while shooting, I have 3 to 4.
Yeah.
It's okay?
It keeps you alert. Yeah. So tea and coffee is considered average.
I have lots of questions for you in terms of your 3-way attack. Ayurveda and homeopathy and allopathy, and I want to ask you a lot maybe after the show because that's for my personal thing. You did a magnificent thing during the COVID lockdown, I heard. You lost 17 kilos.
18 kgs.
18 kilos over a period of what, 100 days, something like that?
Exactly 100 days.
Exactly 100 days. I mean, what was the reason? Did you become overweight in the lockdown and then you did it? Tell me the story.
So, 2018 I got married. And Indian families में होता है ना कि अरे सब बुलाओ couple को खिलाओ. Then you went for your honeymoon, you're eating, and then I had 2 other weddings of my friends to attend back to back. So you're just binging
eating all the time.
for like months on end. And I remember I was called in by a producer to do a show, and I first said no. And she's a big name. Like
you said no.
I said no for the reason being like I'm absolutely unfit right now. I'm 90.
Wow.
I was 90. Because you're eating, drinking, there's no limit. So I said no. I can't, like, look at me. I sent a photo. I said, look, is this what before I embarrass myself in front of you, like let me just send you the picture and do this thing. So she's like, नहीं कुछ नहीं, तू आ जा. So I picked up that show. It was for Balaji. Luckily, just before the lockdown was the college days they were shooting.
Okay.
And then the present.
Okay.
So lockdown खत्म होके present shoot करना शुरू किया. So I said, this is an opportunity. 20 days initially announced हुआ था. So I said, 20 days I'm going to really try and have my calorie counts in place. So if I want to eat something stupid, I'll do it during the day and burn it out in the evening. But I will keep to, my BMR is 1800, I will keep to 1600 calories. How I balance that, I will figure that out. अगर पूरी खानी है दोपहर में तो शाम को सिर्फ ऑमलेट खाएंगे. आगे बढ़ो. Lockdown kept on extending.
And you kept on working.
I kept on holding this because हमने decide किया था हम बाहर से खाना नहीं मंगाएंगे क्योंकि डर भी था. I had a grandfather at home, so anything that was because COVID was such an unknown factor. Anything could have brought COVID in. So we said nothing doing, just घर का खाना. जो भी once a week me and my wife would go get all the ration and come and wash it, keep it for 48 hours outside the house, wash it, all the work. तो घर का खाना खा के मैंने पूरी भी खाई है, मैंने भटूरे भी खाए हैं, मैंने बिरयानी भी खाई है, मैंने पिज्जा भी खाया है, मैंने केक भी खाया है.
पर घर का बनाओ.
That is what I realized. Lost weight, and I lost 18 kgs because every evening my building has a little ground, so I would I live on Pali Hill, so there's a slope.
Right.
तो मैं बस slope 5 बार ऊपर नीचे भागता था and then building में I would do my
कुछ वर्जिश करते थे strength training? कुछ नहीं.
There was nothing.
Wow. So what you're saying is right. I mean, it's just the way you eat sometimes can be so beneficial.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of people don't realize one thing, that BMR count, whatever route of diet you take, keto हो, ये हो, वो हो, कुछ भी आप यूज कर लो. अगर आप बोलोगे आपका BMR के ऊपर आप खा रहे हो, BMR plus you're burning whatever you're burning during the day, उसके ऊपर अगर आप खा रहे हो, आप दुनिया की कोई भी डाइट उठा लो, आप नहीं कर पाओगे. You have to go into calorie deficit.
Right. That's the magic word. Calorie deficit.
In a way, yeah.
In a way,
of course.
I mean, it's a very
macronutrients.
simplistic way because he's obviously not a trainer
I'm not
or
a
nutritionist. And no, but I also strongly believe if my calorie control happens, now I'm not into weighing my food and all that, no, but you have a basic understanding, okay, I had so much of protein, I need to have so much carbs. People give up carbs suddenly for some reason I don't understand.
Correct.
And a lot of dietitians are saying that, which foxes me because I'm not a studied nutritionist, but I know that you need carbs to run your body.
Correct.
And
especially Indian bodies are so carb heavy. Like the day I don't eat carb and if I'm just eating like I'm a vegetarian, मैं पनीर खा रहा हूँ, थोड़ा सा सब्जी खा रहा हूँ और रोटी नहीं खा रहा हूँ या चावल नहीं खा रहा हूँ.
Don't feel good.
My brain just stop functioning.
Somebody explained it to me very well. बोले तुम अगर एक कोल्ड ट्रेन को देख रहे हो जाते हुए और अगर तुम कोल्ड ट्रेन में कोयला नहीं डालोगे तो चलेगा कैसे? That's your carb for your body. Today, there are lots of. I'm also wearing this the band. This monitors all my vitals and it kind of really helps me to keep a lot of things in check. What is your understanding of this? Do you think that they're really helpful, or are they a fad, or are they psychological? Does it work?
You mean these
the Blue Band or the Fitbit or the the iWatch, etc., etc.
Yeah, so they help in monitoring.
Okay.
See, at least you become aware. See, awareness is the first step towards better health.
Correct.
If you're not even aware, then how will you correct yourself, right? So they definitely help in measuring, let's say, blood pressure, heart rate, whether your sleep is good or not.
Yeah.
So it's good
really
for monitoring.
Yeah.
So you become aware, and when you become aware, you automatically start managing your diet and your life better, right? If something is out of way, then you'll probably take help, go to some person, take advice, right? If you know your blood pressure is high, you'll do things about it. No? You'll go down on salt, you'll do things about it. So I think they really help. They don't help in correction, but they do help in
if you're once aware, being aware is half the game.
Is half the game.
Correct. He spoke about COVID. Another thing I wanted to ask you, of course, it's not your main zone, but it's obviously something you've kind of encountered in your with your clients. COVID gave rise to a lot of mental health issues.
Yes.
So he did the good thing by correcting his eating patterns. I know a lot of my friends who started eating junk, who started drinking because there's nothing to do.
There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
So you can go either way.
Yeah, you can go either way.
Yeah, become healthy.
And unfortunately, that led to a lot of problems which persist. Did you treat any of your clients directly or indirectly who went through some mental struggles, and how did you deal with that? How did you tell them what to eat and how to eat and how to deal with stress eating?
Yes. So like I said, some of them started eating healthier because they wanted to raise their immunity, because they didn't want to get COVID. So evidence shows that people with reduced immunity got COVID faster
correct.
than those with good immunity. Evidence also showed that the people who were obese got COVID faster, and they suffered a lot more because of the inflammation.
So this was comorbidity.
Yeah, comorbidity. So if you're having inflammation, if your body is driven with inflammation within your system, and you have COVID, then it's a double whammy, right? And obesity precipitates inflammatory conditions. All right. So people started losing weight, most of them, because you decided to lose weight. A lot of people decided. And yes, there are some people who went the other way because they didn't know what to do and how to do. So we started online.
How did
consults.
you treat?
We started online consults. Yeah. So COVID was hard on all of us.
Right.
We also went through a fair share of problems because
tell us about it. How does an Anjali Mukerjee deal with a problem like that? Maybe at home or with yourself.
Yeah. So you're talking about with patients and
maybe yourself or maybe your husband or your family, somebody went through any challenge.
You just don't go out, wear your mask,
Most of
sterilize
the
your
basic
hands,
stuff.
all that basic stuff you do, and you kind of stay put. But we got busier during COVID because people started falling sick, and we had to suddenly create an app, create a PWA, like a progressive web app. Do online consults. Zoom suddenly was something I never knew, but
of course. We all learned Zoom during COVID.
You started using so much of Zoom because people wanted to know how to and what to, and if they're sick, what to do. So there's a lot of correction that one did. So one got extremely busy at home. I think I was.
Did you
on
treat
Zoom
somebody
for almost 10 hours
specifically
a day.
for a condition?
Yes. So there are a lot of homeopathic. So we have homeopathic doctors. So it's a program that you do. So we help them build their immunity during the COVID, right? So that they don't fall sick. In fact, in homeopathy, there are a lot of homeopathic medicines which help you to reduce the impact. Also, once you get COVID, it reduces the impact. So you don't get as much inflammation. That cytokine, don't really get produced so much in the body.
And you did this all with food?
No. So we use Ayurveda, which is
Medications.
Ayurvedic herbs.
Okay.
So we have experts. We have Ayurvedic doctors on our program. We have homeopathic doctors on our program. So HealthTotal has these three experts. We have clinical nutritionists, homeopaths, and Ayurvedic doctors. And we work together to correct a condition. So like during COVID, a lot of homeopathy was given, nutrition was given to correct, you give a lot of raw juices to detoxify the system at that time. You use Ayurveda to improve digestion.
Nice.
Use homeopathy to
Does
manage
everything
stress
start
and
with your
anxiety.
gut? My mother says that
Yes.
बीमार होते हो तो तुम्हारा
Yes,
पेट
your
खराब
mother's right.
Mother's right.
Mothers are always right.
Mother's always right. Okay.
Yeah. Disease begins in the gut. That's what Hippocrates said many years ago, 2,500 years ago. He's the father of medicine.
Wow. So it's all
So
right.
all disease begins in the
I've
gut.
tried
That is
to
true.
keep my eating habits absolutely as much as I can. My purity has come
You
in.
look very fit, I
And
must say.
this has been, this is not since COVID, of course, but for the last 10-15 years, I said, कि अगर लंबा race खेलना है, तो जाना पड़ेगा. Now she seems to have absolutely no struggles in her life. No mental challenges, no struggles. Every time I ask her about struggles, she says, the struggle was to do this.
I'm a person who just either I'm a solution finder.
Yeah, but that's such a good thing.
I find that either I'll find a way or make a way.
Make a way.
So there will be challenges. I'm sure there are challenges, but then every time I look at, so every day there are challenges. Like there are staffing issues, there are manpower issues.
No, I was talking about like I'll ask him a question, you'll come to know what I mean.
But I just want to before we get to that, I want to tell you one very interesting story about a friend of mine. So he loves doing research. So he has a world of knowledge in a lot of things.
Google research, books, goes, meets people. I call him the Nash Daily of India. Like you can sit with him and you can talk to him. I call him that. He's not the Nash Daily. I call him like you have so much of knowledge and you go out and meet people. His dad got cancer. So the doctor said nothing is not going to happen. He did so much of research. He said, I'm very sure by his right eating, I can at least slow it down, if not cure it. And really?
And the doctors who said, okay, your dad is on second stage and the way he's moving, the third stage is inevitable even with chemo. And his dad was stubborn. He's like, I'm not going to do chemo. If I have to live for so much time, I'll rather live properly and die quickly rather than struggle on for years. So he said, okay. He just fixed his dad's diet according to what probably for cancer. I don't know how he did it, whether it's true, whether it was just a coincidence. I don't know, but he reversed it. So it's
with food.
See, yeah, it's because
That's
food
superb.
has
That's a great incident, and thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people we are only looking at quick fixes today, but this is a great thing. Sorry, you were saying something about
I was just endorsing what he's saying. Because food has a lot of bioactive ingredients in it. No? Like in ginger, there is gingerol. There is, like in haldi, everybody's heard is curcumin. So these are the bioactive ingredients, and when used in the right dosage to the right person at the right time, you can restore health in a sick person. And when I say food, it's not just food; it's lifestyle. You know, that means you don't take alcohol, you don't smoke.
Yeah, you have to cut out a few things and add a few.
You do all of that.
Lifestyle correction with food.
And you take some supplements, you take some Ayurveda. You can do a lot of those powerful things as well. But when you support it with all of that,
it's so funny, you know, our scriptures have so much of like our natural resources are so strong to cure things.
yes.
जड़ी बूटी जो भी है, जो हनुमान जी ने भी किया था, what he got natural herbs from.
Absolutely.
यार आज के जमाने में हम हल्दी खाते हैं, it's helpful for the body. आजकल क्या हो गया ना, people have become so lazy and people आजकल वो टैबलेट्स आ गए हैं जिसमें सिर्फ कैप्सूल के अंदर हल्दी डाल के दे दिया और आप खा लो. I think why?
जब मिलता है नेचुरली तुम्हारे खाने में.
No, what that is, so there's curcumin. So curcumin is the extract of haldi. So you need loads of haldi to get a little bit of curcumin. So that is what they put in the capsule.
So the question which I was going to ask you was that, as an actor or as a family person, whatever, I'm sure you've faced challenges in your life which have kind of told you, "Kare yaar, ye nahi ho raha hai, ya ye bahut ho gaya, yaar, ab kya karunga?" And being an actor, you know, there's always stress for the next job, however big you are.
Absolutely.
Correct? Have you ever personally faced a challenge like that in your life? And if you have, how did you overcome it?
So, I've never really been an insecure person in my life. Yes, I have had my challenges on shoot. Ke, you know, where your smaller brain starts talking louder than your actual awareness of things. कि अरे यार ये scene ऐसा, अरे ये scene में वो, अरे उसका track ज़्यादा चल गया, this and that. And when the thing is, I always go back to correcting myself. I'm a very spiritual person and I follow Buddhism, so I really go and look within that if this voice is coming out in my head, then why is it coming? Because the outside, whatever is happening is just a trigger for something that's happening inside.
Wow.
So once I recognize that trigger, I say, okay, every time it comes, I say that, okay, you're a trigger. I'm not gonna give weightage to you. So for me, that has kind of become a practice, and I've really not been an insecure person when it comes to my.
तो कभी ऐसा नहीं लगता है कि यार अभी जैसा आप मुझे बता रहे थे अभी शूटिंग से पहले कि आपके 2 शोज बैक टू बैक बंद हो गए.
करेक्ट.
अब 2 शो क्या, एक शो किसी एक्टर का बंद हो जाए बिफोर टाइम, you kind of get insecure in a way that अरे यार अब because you not planned anything. So कभी उसमें भी तुमको ऐसा insecurity नहीं होती कि अगला काम
insecurity नहीं होती.
अरे वाह.
I just want surety of the next
but
step
you don't
I
know
take.
what the
I don't know,
surety is.
but if I believe in, like for me, like I told you, my number, the show which was doing well on the channel, and we just got the news next week is going off air. I was probably the only person on set who hugged the producer and said, "Koi baat nahi, sir. There's better things written for you."
Excellent. Great thought.
Better things written for you, sir.
Positive attitude.
Yeah, that's the way
I
to
was
deal
like,
life.
यार ये मेरे हाथ में है नहीं.
तो टेंशन लेके मतलब
मैं क्यों ना ही मेरे स्क्रिप्ट है, ना ही मेरा ये है. इट्स नॉट माय मंकी, नॉट माय सर्कस.
करेक्ट.
और मेरे जो डेस्टिनी में लिखा है वो मेरे सामने आएगा. अब उसको मैं उतना अवेयर हूँ टू टेक द राइट स्टेप एट दैट टाइम और आई टेक द रॉन्ग स्टेप. So for me, I'm taking a break also. It's not to like, oh shit, you know, 2 shows have flopped, what will the industry? And in fact, a casting director once called me after my second show flopped also. And he told me कि सर आपके तो 2 shows back to back flop हुए हैं.
ऐसा बोलते हैं.
बजट कम कर लो ना. I was like, मेरे 2 shows नहीं flop हुए हैं. ओवरऑल 2 shows नहीं चले और flop नहीं बोल सकते, नहीं चले.
हाँ नहीं चले. एक तो चल भी रहा था.
Just imagine, just to break a budget. These are the things that play, and he thought that I will be like, oh, you know, like that insecurity will come. अरे हाँ कम पैसे में कर ले. I said नहीं. मेरा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या है?
करेक्ट.
स्क्रिप्ट मैं लिखता हूँ? नहीं. स्टोरी मैं डिसाइड करता हूँ? नहीं. हाँ, अगर शो खत्म होने के फीडबैक में आया कि कुणाल की एक्टिंग खराब थी, वो मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. एक्टिंग के ऊपर उंगली उठी है नहीं, it's not my-
So
not
I'd
my
say that
monkey.
anybody who's watching it right now should take a lot of inspiration in the thought. You know, everything doesn't depend on us, and don't give yourself so much importance. कि अरे यार ये नहीं चला तो मेरी वजह से.
I'm representing something that 50
Yeah, things
people have
happen.
sat behind.
And I believe in one thing about what you just said. Destiny से बड़ा कुछ नहीं होता. आप कितनी भी मेहनत कर लो, बहुत एक चीज पे आपने मेहनत कर ली, अच्छा भी हुआ, लेकिन अगर उसे बंद होना होता है, तो बंद हो जाता है.
Rohit sir, I'll tell you something. There's a very small thing. I don't know if
No, please, go ahead.
लोग वर्ड कर्मा है ना बहुत largely या loosely यूज करते हैं. And karma is the only word that is looked on more negatively than positively.
या कर्मा इज अ बिच विल बाइट यू इन द
Whatever, ये मेरे कर्म खराब है, मेरे कर्म ने मेरे कर्मा की वजह से मैं ये कर रहा हूँ वो कर रहा हूँ. लोगों ने कर्मा का मतलब समझा है. Thought, word and action. This is karma.
थॉट
Think about
वर्ड
it.
एंड एक्शन.
What you think, what you say, and what you feel. I can think bad about you, say really great things about you, and my action will be like, oh, you're the best, and I can make you feel better. My thought is saying, what a dirty man. I'm actually creating a karma here. So when my thought towards anything is good, my words are matching my thought, and my action is matching these things. These three things at any microsecond of your life defines your karma, and it is always cause and effect. Karma is cause and effect.
Excellent.
You plant a apple seed, tomorrow the tree is not going to come. Maybe 10 years from now, 15 years from now, it will bear fruit. But your karma you planted today. 15 साल बाद आपको कुछ ऐसे लगता है कि यार ये मेरे साथ क्यों हो रहा है.
तो आपने तभी किया
Actually,
होगा.
you just planted a seed, then the right time came and it manifested. You planted your karma, then you're just waiting for the manifestation.
Damn.
तो जब मैं अच्छा सोच रहा हूँ, मैं अच्छा कर रहा हूँ और मैं अच्छा steps ले रहा हूँ,
बाकी
किसी
तो
को
आपके हाथ में ही नहीं है.
So I'm creating good seeds. I'm planting great seeds. तो why should I bother about the future?
He's very wise now for his
No, absolutely.
young boy is
Most
very wise.
Most people think they are planning their lives.
Right.
But actually life happens to you. Did you really plan to be where you are? Maybe you do some minor thinking on a daily basis. Like today I'm going to do this because I'm going to plan it. But the larger things happen to you.
Absolutely.
Right? You don't
Correct.
design that I'm going to be here. I never designed myself to be here. I just studied. I was passionate about my work.
Absolutely.
And I was just doing my work. But life happens and you take it gracefully and when challenges happen, you just find solutions.
Right.
And you keep dealing it with logic. And you just go through each day. And then if you're bogged down with it, it's called a challenge.
Right.
And if you found the solution, then you find
I love
find
what
it
you said,
eureka.
that I'm a solution finder. I think that's a fantastic thing. And the one thing, now we've spoken about mental health, we've spoken about nutrition. The one thing I've discovered of late, two things actually, out of that one I will discuss with you. One of the great merits of yoga I've discovered, because I went to a show last year where I ruptured my tendon and I tore my hamstring. Grade 3 tear, and after that,
Workouts?
no, I was doing a helicopter stunt,
Oh.
and my leg got overextended, and I tore my hamstring in grade 3. I couldn't walk
pain.
for about 4 months, and then it took me a year to kind of get back to near normal. It's still about 75%.
Okay.
What I wanted to ask you is that there's several programs that you do.
Yeah.
There are lots of things being spoken about with injury. Is there any way that food can
Yeah.
aid recovery?
So when we say food, it's food and supplements, because supplements are food in a capsule.
So you have to tell me when you mean supplements, like I
Like
depend
vitamin
on
C, for instance.
depend on whey protein for my
This is
protein.
supplement,
This thing,
yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So that's what.
That's supplement,
Okay.
right? So it's food, but in a format where it gives you 25 grams of protein per scoop.
Correct. So I know
So you know what it is, right? So similarly, when you are taking your supplements, like vitamin C,
Right.
like for instance injury. Let's talk about injury. So there are a lot of supplements that help with it, like vitamin D.
Right.
If your
My vitamin D
levels-
is always low for
it's
some
always
reason.
low, right? That means your receptor sites are either blocked, or you have the VDR receptor, what we call the vitamin D receptor, is mutated. So we do gene tests where we
Right.
figure out your
Right.
receptor sites. So we know that in this individual, vitamin D will always be low.
Okay.
Now in the genetic test, once it shows, we would always supplement with vitamin D. Now
Okay.
once you do that, you don't have bone pain, you don't have all the body stiffness, And even the repair is much faster. The injury repair is much faster.
So you cannot correct the receptor sites?
No, this is something you're born with. So it's a knowledge.
Okay.
It's knowledge.
So which is why over time, every time I do a blood test, I realize that my
It's
vitamin
low.
D, everything is normal. But
Right. So if you would like do the program, then we would put you on a regular vitamin D dose and check it once in 3 months and see that it's maintained around 70 or 80.
Can we do that for me?
Of course we can. Of course we can.
Super.
So that's just one of the things I'm explaining.
Right.
But food, supplements, Ayurveda, all of this when put together can restore a lot of problems in the human body. Only then there's an emergency, like you have a heart attack. That time don't start practicing preventive healthcare.
Yeah, because
that
there's no
time
point.
you go to emergency healthcare, right? But people need to stop doing reactive healthcare and get into prevention. The moment they get into prevention, most problems will disappear, most health conditions, because they are planning what to eat and how to live and all the lifestyle, exercise, everything. So when you're well planned in that area of your life, just like business, you plan it, right? Or your work, you plan your day. I'm going to do this, I'm going to wear this, I'm going to behave like this, I'm going to talk. So that's your planning. And you do well. Why? Because you plan. Now if you plan your health, okay, even once you understand from someone and you do it, you will stay healthy all your life. It's not such rocket science. It's not so difficult.
And then it has to become a lifestyle.
It has to be a lifestyle. It's the day-to-day issues that creep up because of the wrong toxin intake. We are surrounded by toxins all the time.
All the time.
So you're breathing it in the air, in the water, in the food. It's there. You're not removing it. Maybe say, for example, a person is suffering from constipation. Just a small example. Constipation is a big deal, but people don't consider it a big deal because that is the only way your body can throw out things. Now, if it's not out, it's festering, it's changing your gut bacteria, it's giving you a headache, it's not absorbing your nutrients. Suddenly, your B12 is low, your B6 is low, B1 is low. Now, what has happened? You've been constipated for say 10 years. I'm just giving a very minor, but you've been suffering from malabsorption of nutrients because of that one condition. Now, 10 years later, you realize, why is my hair falling? Why is my skin lackluster? There's no cleansing happening.
Right.
So, if people realize that they need to take care of their bodies as well as they do any other thing in life, right? Wherever your focus is, that area gets corrected. So, if you focus on your health, you will never be unhealthy. You'll always be healthy.
I'm going to come to you.
Sure.
I want to also do a proper gene test and this test to understand what so when you're this side of 40, you take a lot of stuff for granted because you recuperate faster, you recover
people
faster.
People take their health totally for granted, I would say. And not because they want to, because they don't know.
Right.
They don't know any better. Like you would do it because yahi karte hain. Like self-knowledge, or you read a little but once you understand, this is my blood group, this is my body type, this is how much protein I need, these are my genetics, then there is a formula that fits. And you follow that formula for life. Do an 80-20 rule. 80% eat right, 20% you can eat without thinking because that much the body allows you.
Right.
Right. And
you're actually talking about something that I wanted to talk about later. Does Anjali Mukerjee have a cheat meal?
My thought was
because 20% to kha lo.
Yeah, of course. We all love it. Like I love chaat, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah.
तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आप मतलब नहीं बिल्कुल ही नहीं खा सकते
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं normal food you eat so when you're constantly
how often do you cheat in a week or in a month?
So I am eating a normal healthy diet according to me.
No, cheat meal is not going to be healthy. Like my cheat meal is
I love chaat,
butter chicken.
Okay, so but butter chicken is not considered unhealthy. Chicken is protein, so it's good for your health.
So much.
Butter
is
again,
okay.
we make it in a way, of course, homemade butter chicken.
Right.
We make it in a way that doesn't have too much of.
Today I'm celebrating. Today is the last day of my schedule, so I'm celebrating with butter chicken today.
Okay.
Oh wow!
That's my lunch. Okay, so you have a cheat meal and you do indulge once in a while.
Yes.
And do you try and calibrate how much you've cheated so that you will make up for it? Not really. Okay, just khao. Just wo wala ek meal अच्छे से.
So I'll tell you how to cheat. Okay, so you can.
I'll tell you how to cheat.
Both of us are like, yes, please tell us.
So there's a way. Okay, so whatever you feel, I mean, you have information of what's right and what's wrong for you. You make a meal out of what you think is good for you, right?
Okay.
And whatever you want to cheat on tasting amounts. It's called a tasting amount. Don't make a meal out of it.
Okay.
Like they are having an ice cream, for instance. So you don't have like dollops of ice cream. you can just have a teaspoon or two. You've tasted it.
Your taste gets satiated,
So you're
you feel happy.
satiated. Why would you put a lot of bad things in your body
right.
purposely?
Right.
But like a
You want-
pizza is like
Like,
something
yeah,
where
maybe-
So
Yeah,
you have
I
a slice
can't-
of pizza. So you have a slice. See, this is how you go off.
Right.
So you're tasting everything in the world, but you have very tiny quantities. Now, if you decide to have a meal, okay, you want to like eat lots of it, then I'm sure there are ways to then. So that's the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time, Monday
Has to
to
be good.
Friday,
Has to
you're
be
eating
good.
right. Saturday and Sunday, you don't go crazy.
You indulge a little
But
bit.
you indulge a little bit. And that kind of balance will come within you only when you experience good health.
I've actually learned a lot from both of you today. I was thinking both of us will learn from him, but I learned a lot from you. Okay, so this was a more serious part of the discussion. Since you're a senior, you've seen so much in life. I want you to tell me, a lot of mental health conversations are going on. Any tip that you'd give the youngsters of how to deal with, because also lots of words are used very loosely nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I'm getting panic attacks. They're not really getting any
Right.
panic. There's just some upheaval has happened.
Right.
What would
Right.
you tell the
Right.
youngsters?
See, I would tell them clearly. So why is it happening? First, let me explain, and then the solution. Okay, first, it's important to understand the cause and therefore the solution, right? So the youngsters today are depleted of a whole lot of nutrients. For instance, magnesium. Okay,
Right.
if you're low in magnesium, you'll get stressed because magnesium relieves stress. Now, in the earlier days, like we used to have a lot of vegetables. Youngsters today don't eat vegetables. They don't eat fruits. They don't eat vegetables. So obviously they'll be low in potassium, low in magnesium, low in all these very important minerals. Now so we are a chemical soup at the end of the day. Your emotions will be driven by the chemicals that are there in your soup, which is your blood, right? So if you're well nourished, well hydrated, well everything, you will not get stressed. Why? Because you will have enough energy, your hemoglobin will be fine, your B vitamins will be fine, your magnesium will be fine, your zinc will be fine, your immunity will be good, and you will be able. So stress is omnipresent. We are not saying everyone has stress.
Right.
Okay, but you can deal with it so much better, and you feel it's nothing because you're so top of the world. You're so energized. You're so positive. Why? Because your chemical soup has everything in it.
Right.
Compared to a depleted chemical soup where you're taking alcohol, you're smoking. So all these things, let's say you're taking a lot of nicotine. It blocks, so there are a lot of heavy metals that enter the body, cadmium, mercury from fish, there's a lot of these heavy metals. They block the nutrient sites. अब वो nutrient के receptor site पे, if there is a heavy metal sitting, you will not absorb zinc, you will not absorb magnesium and all the good nutrients. So you're depleted and depleted and depleted. Number one. Secondly, you're not hydrated. 3, you're sleeping so late. And 4th, you're constantly in front of the blue light. Right, television as well as this. And this is the status of our youngsters today. Now,
Totally.
if they just do some basic stuff on their body, correct their blood chemistry, for instance, okay, that's really simple to do that, they can deal with the same stress. There is nothing called depression. They can deal with it. It's just a gross nutrient deficiency because of which they feel like that. Yes, there may be some cases
Of
which are
course, there are
genetically
certain-
coded.
yeah.
There are some cases. So a lot of counseling can be done. Correction of, so there are a lot of medicines in Ayurveda, for instance. So we use homeopathy for managing stress. Homeopathy works very well on stress, anxiety and skin.
Homeopathy. Okay.
Homeopathy.
But I've heard that homeopathy takes a long, long time.
No, it doesn't.
It's not.
When you're working on a detoxified body, see, that's the reason we included it.
Okay.
Because detoxification is the first step everyone has to do when they're on plan. It's like बच्चों पे homeopathy चलती है. क्यों? Because they're already detoxified.
Correct.
बड़ों पे क्यों नहीं चलती? Because they're not detoxified. So first you detoxify the body, and that we use Ayurveda and nutrition. And once you cleanse, like Panchakarma, you must have heard in Ayurveda.
I was just going to say that 2 things I've adopted since the COVID. One's Panchakarma and one's yoga.
Correct.
I do
so
it
we
twice
do
a year.
form of Panchakarma, which is not so difficult to do, but we do it via herbs and tablets. So
Right.
it's easier for the busy man.
Right.
We ask the busy man's program. So it's easy for them to do it. So when you do that, it's a cleansed body. Then you add homeopathy, which will calm the mind. Homeopathy is very effective for anxiety, so all the palpitations, all of that stops. And you get a better restful sleep. And a little bit of counseling, that you sleep at 11,
course.
if not, if you want to sleep at 1, instead of that, you sleep at
11,
11.
yeah.
So 1 hour, we keep pushing it. And because the patient feels so much better, and so much calmer during the day, they want to continue doing the homeopathy. So skin also
Excellent.
improves because of that, because with stress you get acne, you get a lackluster skin, so again all of those things. And for digestion, we
I know
use
you've been
Ayurveda.
sitting quietly for a while, but I have one more question for you.
No, please. I'm actually
Since this,
taking
today is
in a
going to
lot
be a
of-
very nutrition heavy day because we have got you. Another word which has been bastardized and there's so much of stigma around it is cholesterol.
Okay.
Okay, now I've done my own research about the cals levels and this and that and how HDL, LDL, there. So I spoke to a cardiologist, and we've realized that because anything I say here, obviously there's a little bit of responsibility on what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Although I keep telling my audiences that, listen, I'm just giving you information. This might not be for you. This might not be 100% correct. Do your own research. Speak to a medical practitioner. How can the same cholesterol in your body, how can something be good for you and bad for you at the same time, whether it's an HDL and LDL?
Huh.
What I've been made to believe is that cholesterol is good. The bad cholesterol is the reason why it's called bad, is taking all those things up to you, and the good cholesterol brings it out of you.
Correct.
It's a two-way passage, and if your cal score is good,
Yeah.
nearer to zero,
Yeah.
then there is nothing to really worry about in terms of cholesterol. Do you have any say in that and any understanding of why cholesterol has been bastardized?
Yeah, so there are two different things. The CAC score is different. The coronary artery calcium, that is different.
That's
Okay.
different.
That is calcification,
Calcification,
of the arteries because of it. So cholesterol is basically good for the body because it works like a protection.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
It is an antioxidant. Okay. In fact, people who have low cholesterol, they say you have oxidative stress. Oxidative stress means in your health bank, there's a health bank within you, depending on what you've eaten. It's a health
Right.
bank, right? There is nothing left in your health bank. So now the cholesterol it's needed
Right.
to kind of, look after the system. So cholesterol is good for you. However, if you're leading a life of excesses, drinking, late night, all of those
All
things,
of those things which are
and you
good.
have high cholesterol, you will form more clots, right? And
If you have high cholesterol.
high cholesterol, higher than normal, okay, though it's good for you, but everything is good in balance.
Yeah.
Low cholesterol is not good, high cholesterol is
Not
not
good.
good, right? But so does your body need cholesterol? Yes, every cell membrane is made from cholesterol. You need that. But when your pachan is bad, when your digestion is bad, you will store cholesterol. नहीं तो Agni say everything will burn.
Correct.
So why will you store cholesterol then? Okay, so your cholesterol rises when you're eating processed food, when you're eating sugary food, when you're eating in excess of what your body needs. When you're never hungry, ask my patients, are you hungry? No. We say you have to experience the hunger. Then only you know you're digesting your food. So when you are doing all of that, your cholesterol will never be high. It's only 1/3 of the population which needs medication for lowering cholesterol.
I was going to ask you that. Does it have to do anything at all with genetics
Yes,
or
yes,
chemicals?
yes. So 2/3 of the people just need to correct their diets for normalizing their cholesterol. So the triglycerides, what is triglycerides? If you gain weight, triglycerides will go up. They are stored fats. Body cupboard है. मतलब
अच्छा.
कहाँ रखना है?
So it's
आपने
actually
extra
quite
fat खा
simple to
लिया?
understand.
It's really simple. It's really, really simple. If you've eaten more fat and the wrong fats, na, the refined oils and all जैसे लोग खाते हैं. So if you're storing that fat, it gets stored in the form of triglycerides.
Okay.
तो
So
blood
which is why
levels
the
में बढ़
level
जाता
will,
है. हम आपका पाचन सही कर देते हैं. We give you in Ayurveda fabulous herbs to improve digestion. The moment you do that, your cholesterol will fall.
Okay.
Your triglycerides will fall. The before and after we show the patients आपका. So they are blown because they've taken medicines for so long.
Guess who's coming to see you very, very soon? So you do this online or offline or both?
Both. Yeah.
Chale? I think chalna
I think
chahiye.
we
na?
need it.
Okay. So lots of questions I asked you today. We've gone over my time, but thank you. Now we have a fun segment. It's called the Ask Rohit segment. You can ask me one question about whatever it is that you want, whether it's fitness or mental health or nutrition even. If you have any doubts about your thing, you can ask me. And we start with you because you've been sitting idle for a long time. हाँ भाई, पूछो सवाल तुम.
मुझे ये पूछना है, what do you do for yourself for spirituality? Do you believe in it?
Of course.
Because religion and spirituality is two separate things.
I believe in both. I believe in religion a little lesser, but I believe in spirituality. What you said actually about the karma, For me, that's spirituality. My thought has to be pure. My actions towards you have to be pure. I never believe in supposing like we have a lot, in the film fraternity, to answer you in a more broad way. There's this thing, this culture that the moment Kunal walks out, they'll say, "Arey, yaar, ye kya hai?" Then they start bitching about. I have a very simple philosophy. Don't say anything to him in front of him, which you cannot say it behind his back, and vice versa. मैं तेरे पीछे कभी ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा जो तेरे सामने नहीं बोल सकता हूँ. Like whatever I told you in the room, I said, well, don't discuss it. But I don't care.
Yeah,
तो बोला है.
absolutely.
So that's one thing I've realized. Spirituality is a way of life. Religion, I think, is a divisive factor, if I can say that on my show. But for me, spirituality is pure thoughts. Pure eating is also for me. अच्छा अपने खुराक सही रखो और लोगों के बारे में बुरा मत कहो, बुरा मत सोचो. तो I think it's an extension of what you just mentioned. You just called it karma, but that's so. मेरे भी कर्म फिर अच्छे ही होंगे क्योंकि मैं कभी भी किसी के बारे में ना बुरा सोचता हूँ ना बुरा बोलता हूँ. मुझे लगता है कि there's a crab mentality around. I don't believe in that. If you're doing well, I organically feel happy for you. You don't have to tell me, you don't have to be my friend even. If I just tomorrow hear about Kunal is doing this new show, I'll say, "Arey, yeah, damn good, I'll message you." So that's for me spirituality. The simple living, clean living as much as possible. Of course, I've fallen prey to a lot of the good things you spoke about.
I think we all have.
Yeah, we all have.
That's also not aware.
Yeah, and it's been part of growing up. And when you come from a smaller town and you see the glitz and glamour of Mumbai, you kind of try to fit in. Then you try to get sucked in.
Right. As long as your thoughts
I hope that
are
answers your question.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So what do you do for recreation? How do you spend your time?
I don't know whether I can say that on camera.
That's why I asked.
Because my wife watches my shows very closely. Well, for recreation, over the last 2-3 years, my recreation has really reduced drastically.
Working hard.
So, but yeah, now my recreation is sitting with my family. Honestly, my biggest recreation is if I can go out with my daughter, whatever opportunity I get. Even just sitting in my room, knowing that my daughter is in her room and sitting there is recreation for me. I don't know whether you'll understand this.
I will. I have 2 daughters myself.
You have 2 daughters.
I totally
So
get
for
that.
me, just getting some time with her and other, over the last 10 years, we've kind of changed the way I used to recreate. Now it's just traveling with Mansi. We are voracious, like how you're a voracious reader. Mansi is a voracious reader. I love to travel. She knows where we are going. That's the one thing we enjoy doing as a couple. So for me, that has become the mainstay of my recreational activities.
Okay.
And then, of course, my daughter.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Great.
And of course, we do a little bit of other things also, but that's become very, very minimal because now, like you said, 80-20.
Yeah.
80%, this is what life
Yeah, that's
is.
not tough.
Okay. Before we let you go, the audiences that watch you right now, I want them to get inspired by what you guys have done. So we call this the RiteBite Max Protein Keep Going mantra. Everybody will meet obstacles in life. What would you tell them as a mantra that maybe you adopted in your life? Or say कि भाई कल अगर problem आती भी है तो ऐसा सोचो, keep going.
Right. So I think when you are well nourished, well exercised, well rested, free of toxins, free of negative emotions, with something to do, someone to love, you will always stay healthy. You will always be happy.
How sweet.
And always stay.
You make it so simple. It's so simple. You realize that, it can be so simple.
It
We
is,
only
it
make
is.
it so
We
complex in
yeah,
our
life
mind.
really is simple. It's not
Yeah,
simple.
it's so simple. Thank you for that. And
So, we as human beings, as species, are put on this planet to problem solve. So if you feel there's anyone who does not have problems, it's a myth कि यार इसके पास तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी, इतना अमीर है.
आजकल
इसका
इंस्टाग्राम पे देख के ऐसे लगता है कि किसी को
Correct.
प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है यार.
I'll just tell you something, that our problems are not our problems. Our inability to deal with our problem is our problem.
Wow, true.
So if I know how to deal with it, it'll not be a problem for me. But if I can't deal with it, it will shake my life in whichever direction my mind wants it to. So strengthen yourself here. Everybody should have something that they do beyond their daily life, like spiritually wise. Because that just helps you connect with your mind and your heart. And that is where you will navigate life so beautifully, you will not even know that, oh, if there's a problem, I don't need to hurt someone, use someone, speak bad about someone, cheat someone to just get out of this.
Excellent. All you boys and girls watching,
Good thoughts.
please, that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Anjali, for being here. And I can assure you that both of us are coming to see you next week.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kunal. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You look very different from your screen persona. And you are very different. And you guys, I will see you next week again with yet another inspiring episode. Till then, like she said, 80-20. Be healthy, be happy, be safe. Lots of love.